Well, that was not a pretty game. 12-7 final Notre Dame over Louisville. Now, how do I start this without trying to sound like I'm too negative or I am too pessimistic or I'm just an asshole? But you know what? That game was absolutely disgusting. And before I came on here talking to you guys, I was listening to the Notre Dame postgame show on the radio to see how they would cover this game, since this is a different type of show that I provide, that I'm non-biased and I'm very truthful and I'm just right down to the point and I cut through the red tape. Well, unfortunately, Notre Dame's postgame show doesn't do that, and you would not believe what the main guy said. I forgot his name. He's a former Notre Dame player. He's an analyst on there. He's not the main guy, the main host. But to start off the show, he basically said that if you watched this game and thought that Notre Dame is not a good team, you are an uneducated Notre Dame fan. So this is basically what I'm talking about, the delusional elite Notre Dame fans who cannot admit that this team is not good. Well, it's good, but they're not as good as they think. They're not the fourth best team in the country, okay? Let's get that off the plate. Let's slide that off the table. They are not the fourth best team in the country. The last 2 weeks, they have not played that well. All right. These Notre Dame fans, including the guy on the post-game show for Notre Dame on Westwood One radio network stations, when he said that, I was on my way to Walgreens to get something for my headache because I've got a migraine. No, not because of this game, but the game made it worse. There was no criticism whatsoever with this game, and there is so much to criticize Notre Dame on this game, I don't even know where to begin. Okay, that's why I try not to listen to these post-game shows, because they are just too honest. He tried to compare last weekend's game, Alabama against Ole Miss, when Alabama gave up 41 points. Okay, big difference, dude. Alabama looked good when they beat Ole Miss. That's the only difference. Notre Dame did not look good today beating Louisville, who's 1-3. Now, another thing they said was that, well, Louisville has over 400 yards total against all four teams they played up against Notre Dame before this weekend. Bullshit. I don't care how many yards they provided. They were 1-3. They are not a good football team. There is a reason why they are 1-3. And Notre Dame was lucky to win this game today. They were very lucky to win this game today. Notre Dame played so bad that they could have been down by 2 scores early. That's how bad it was. They could have been down 17-10 or 17-3 early in this game if they played against anyone who was better than Louisville. If they play this way against North Carolina, if they play this way against Clemson, forget it. You're going to get blown out. That was absolute garbage today. And I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to say, well, Notre Dame played a good game. Well, then sometimes you're going to have a bad game, and that's just the way it is. You can still have a bad game, but still look good at being bad. And yes, that does make sense. Notre Dame in all aspects of the game today were terrible. Absolutely terrible and awful. The offensive line, now I'm questioning the offensive line. Yes, Louisville's defense was productive. Yes, Louisville's defense was more athletic than the last 3 teams they've played. But however, their offensive line did not look good today after I gave them all that credit last weekend when they played that terrible Florida State team. So, I mean, I'm not even going to give a game ball to anyone today because that's how bad it was. And I'm fired up. Like, another thing is, everything about this game was bad, okay? So I'm gonna pick apart different things. And I'm gonna keep it short today, guys, because I'm pretty sure you don't want to hear me scream at you guys because I'm excited and I've got a migraine. I'm not feeling well today. No, it's not COVID-19, so all you social justice warriors out there with your medical degrees, you need to relax. It's not COVID-19. I get frequent migraines at least once a month. But anyways, let's pick apart the play calling. Brian Kelly and Tommy Rees's play calling today, and I know Tommy Rees is offensive coordinator and he calls the plays, was completely garbage today. I hate a screen pass, especially on 3rd and long. If you are an offensive coordinator or head coach and you run a screen pass on a 3rd and 9 play, on a 3rd and long, 3rd and 9, you need to be fired as a freaking coach. That's terrible. They had no momentum today. It was flat from the start of the game. The play calling was absolutely terrible, especially with that fake field goal right before halftime. What the hell was that? I understand you're trying to get your team some momentum going into halftime, trying to score that touchdown, being up 13-0 at the point they were up 6-0. But if you kick that field goal, you're up by 3 scores, 9-0 at halftime. Or 2 scores. Regardless if you scored a touchdown or not. So they just should have went for the field goal and been up 9-0, and that still would have given Notre Dame some momentum because they would have shut out Louisville at that point, which they did when they were up 6-0. But I just never understood going for the fake field goal, and that's what really triggered me, and that's really pissed me off today, guys, was that awful fake field goal attempt that they failed on. And this is the problem that I've had with Brian Kelly teams. Once again, he played down to his team's level. I've seen Louisville play this year. Louisville is not that good. I don't know if Notre Dame is not that good and they just had a bad game, or Louisville has good athletes. I don't know what it is, but you know what? That's what I was feeling during this game, that what I just explained to you. But after this game, I don't think Notre Dame is good as I thought last weekend with that great offensive line, the way they destroyed Florida State. I just think this is typical mediocre Notre Dame football that Brian Kelly has coached. And this is what we have to live with. And this is all we have to have. Because that's all we're ever going to get. Like, it could be worse than this. I mean, would you rather have them be 3-1 right now, or 4-0 with a coach who doesn't know what he's doing, or Brian Kelly, who's a semi-good coach who recruits well, but leaves you scratching your head with his play calling, leaves you scratching his head with who he picks as offensive coordinator, and leaves you with your head scratching when he does a screen pass on a third and long play. And I hate screen passes. Screen passes should be banned. And there was no momentum today with their offense. I mean, there was nothing. I mean, Kyrie Williams, again, yes, had over 100 yards rushing. He's a beast. He's their star player of that team. But I was just completely disgusted today. And yes, they are 4-0. Yes, they won 12-7. But they are not the fourth best team in the country. They should drop down to number 8 or number 9 after this terrible performance today. And not just Louisville was bad, or Notre Dame was bad, or the play calling was bad. Everything about this game was bad. Mike Tirico, the announcer for NBC, the play-by-play guy, he's terrible. They need to push him aside, get someone better. He didn't even know what down it was at a certain point. He didn't even know how many yards Notre Dame had when Louisville converted a first down. He said it should have been 3rd and 2 when it was actually a first down. Like, this he's like, well, I thought it was third and 2, and clearly Louisville had a first down by 16 feet, and this guy's sitting here and he doesn't even know what down it is. And then on the very first possession by Louisville, they had a big run. The quarterback had a big run of 20 yards and got a first down, and then after that they faltered and had to punt. Mike Tirico said, "Oh, Louisville went 3 and out in the first possession." I mean, This guy is getting paid all this money to be announced on NBC on national TV in a big program like Notre Dame, and he doesn't even know what down it is, and he doesn't even know how many first downs Louisville had. And then also the spotter, the guy that gives him all this information, what the hell is he doing? And also the clock operator was bad too. They kept on stopping the clock today, and there wasn't even an injury, or there wasn't even a first down, or the ball wasn't an incomplete pass, or it wasn't a dead ball, or they were out of bounds. It happened in 3 occasions today. So overall, this was just a bad game by the officiating, by the clock operator, by the announcers, and by both football teams, Notre Dame and Louisville. But if you're Notre Dame, you need to play a lot better. They need to be more consistent with their offense, because after today, I'm left scratching my head now saying, maybe their offensive line isn't that good. And I know I'm up and down here, but I am completely truthful with you guys. There was nothing here to give Notre Dame credit for. And then another thing that announcer said that, Notre Dame's defense prevented Louisville from getting over 400 yards because they've been doing that all year. Louisville has a good offense, and they've been averaging 436 yards. They're 1-3, guys. Shut the hell up. Like, just be truthful. Say this team sucks. They played like shit today. They were lucky to beat Louisville. And then to call football fans uneducated because you criticize for the way Notre Dame played makes you look like an elitist, delusional Notre Dame fan. And that's what these people are. And this guy, he probably played at Notre Dame. He's an analyst, and most analysts are former football players. He was probably a Notre Dame alumni who played for Lou Holtz or Bob Davie back in the day. I understand it. You have to be loyal, but you need to come up with something better than that. Don't call fans like me uneducated who clearly sees what you don't. And deep down, maybe you feel the same thing as me, and I understand you were a football player. You know more than me. But that was a brutal and terrible performance by Notre Dame today. And I have this terrible migraine that I'm tired of having them. And I had to go to Walgreens and get Advil so I can come on here and talk to you guys because I was out of my medicine and I should have bought some last week. But you know what? I feel a little bit better now. I've had a couple Advils in me. I'm venting. I'm talking to you guys. But that is pretty much it today. I wanted to keep it short. I'm not even going to go through the stats because it's not worth it. I'm not even giving a B-Man's game ball to any of these players. I guess I will give the game ball to the commercials because the commercials were more entertaining today than this actual football game. The commercials were more entertaining than the clock operator. These commercials were more entertaining than Mike Tirico, by the way, who is so terrible. And that is pretty much it today, folks. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe to my channel, or like this video and subscribe to my channel. And also, Notre Dame does play next week on the 24th against Pittsburgh, their first road game of the year. That game will be over on ABC. That's 2:30 Eastern Time. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend, and I guess go Irish.